Okay, so now we're ready to start the second section about structure and function of the spinal cord itself. This is gross anatomy. Remember, gross anatomy means that it's the visible structure you can see with the unaided eye. The length is between 42 and 45 centimeters. It extends all the way from the base of the brainstem, which is called the medulla oblongata, down to the second lumbar vertebrae. So the spinal cord itself does not go all the way down to the end of the spine. It ends in something called the caudae equine. So the spinal cord itself changes into the caudae equine. And I know some of y'all know what caudae equine means because caudal, remember, is the tail end of things. And equine, if y'all know, have a horse or watch those equestrian sports, then you know that it means horse. So it means literally horsetail. The nerves that arise from the base of the spinal cord itself, if we look at this picture right here, you can see that the spinal cord comes down to about right here, that first or second lumbar vertebrae, and then it turns into a lot of bigger, or I should say, they turn into smaller nerves that go down all the way here. We had talked about the sacral vertebrae. Remember, this is where that sacral vertebrae is, where they talked about where the dura mater goes. Okay? All right, let's go back to the notes again. So that's the caudae equine. Okay, there's two enlargements, the cervical enlargement and the lumbar enlargement. And those enlargements are because there's a lot of nerves that have to come out of that area and go to our appendages. If you look here, you can see that they are, whoops, sorry, can't open it. Okay, let me go back. Okay, if you look right here, the lumbar enlargement is right here, and that's going toward the lower limbs, and then you have the cervical enlargement, and that's here, and that's for the upper limbs. You can see it's not like huge, but you do need to know that the cervical enlargement supply the upper limbs and the lumbar enlargement supply the lower limbs. If I were to cut the spinal cord transversely, where I'm looking down at it, I would actually be able to see two grooves. There's the anterior median fissure and then the most posterior median sulcus. Fissures are clear cut, whereas sulcus is a groove. And if we look at this picture right here, we can see this is the fissure right here. So this is the anterior median fissure. So think about it. Does this mean that it's in the front or toward the back of the body? And of course, this is toward the front. So if you find the anterior median fissure, which is in the front, in the middle, and it's a fissure, so it's a cut, then you know you can get orientation of that of the spinal cord itself. Here you can see this groove is the posterior median sulcus. So that's that groove right here. Okay. Okay, so if you remember when we just looked at that, white matter is on the outside. Remember we talked about that last chapter, and then on the inside it looks like a butterfly shape, so or an H, and that's the gray matter. In the very center of that is a central canal, and it's a small space that contains cerebral spinal fluid. So if we go back here and look at it one more time, you can see this is white matter here, contains tracts. This is that H-shaped butterfly matters right smack dab in the middle. And then this is the central canal there that contains cerebral spinal fluid. If you look right here, this area is called the gray commissurds. This are horns. We're going to talk about those in just a second. And this right here is the white matter that surrounds it. Okay, I think I'm going to stop on that and then come back to internal structure. See you guys later.